10 common mistakes field goal kickers make. Common mistake number 1 for field goals, it's your alignment. When you take in your steps back and over, make sure they're 90 degrees, right? We don't want to go forward or back. Next, a lot of the time, our toes are pointed off to the sideline or straight down the field. Make sure your alignment, your plant foot is pointed to where it wants to go, and your kicking foot is pointed towards the ball. This is one common mistake that can be corrected very quickly to ultimately have better success. Common mistake number 2 for kickers, it's your stance. So in your stance, you don't want to be sitting back on weight on the back foot. You want to be leaning forward. Next, you don't want to be on a balance beam. You want to be a nice, comfortable base somewhere. For most kickers, it's going to be a heel-toe relationship, just like this. The weight should be on the ball of your front foot in a leaning forward position. You don't want to be tall, you don't want to be stiff, you want to be nice, relaxed. And whatever you do it the same way every time. Common mistake number 3 for field goal kickers, it's the path to the ball. Too many times when we take our jab step, you step out. And then our second step, we step to the right. You really got to make sure your steps are going to your plant foot. Too many times when we step, our kicking foot step, we open up and our toe is pointed out. This brings us behind the ball. We don't want to come behind the ball when we kick. We want to come beside the ball. So make sure your path to the ball is straight to your plant foot. Common mistake number 4 for field goal kickers, it's that last step. Too many times we have smooth step and that last step is too long. We jump into it. So one, either start closer to the ball or move faster. That last step, you don't want to be so far that you jump, because what happens is when you jump, you land on a single leg and this knee gives out and it lowers your hips and keeps everything back. You don't have the explosion or the body position needed to have ultimate success. Make sure that last step, you're not jumping at the ball. Common mistake number 5 for field goal kickers, it's your plant foot. More than likely, a lot of you started off with tees and moved down to the ground and your plant foot isn't deep enough. So when we're off the ground, you want to move from maybe your ball of your foot to the middle of your foot from a tee perspective to now slide that heel forward. So now my heel is in line with the ball. Get your plant foot deeper. That's ultimately going to allow you to stay tall and come up and through the ball like a pitching wedge in golf, and it's going to hit higher field goals for you as well. Common mistake number 6 for field goal kickers, it's that off arm and the crunch. So once we get to the ball, a lot of us are bringing this arm too far back and it's turning our shoulders open. Make sure we can bring it out, but don't let it go all the way back and turn our shoulders. Next, the path it takes should be about shoulder width height or higher. We want to be parallel with our shoulders or higher. We don't want that arm to come down because it's going to pull the shoulder down and we're ultimately going to crunch. And the other part of that is we can have our swing high, but if we crunch, we're bringing our upper body down and we're going to stop our follow through. We want to be nice and tall to come up and through. Common mistake number 6, and it's your shoulder position. Too many times kickers, when they swing, their shoulders are just open or their shoulders are dropping down. You really want to make sure your shoulders are parallel with the ground and slightly turned so your chest is facing the ball at contact. Too many times we open up our shoulders before we follow through, and if we open up our shoulders, it's ultimately going to result in our follow through pulling around as well. Common mistake number 7 for field goal kickers, it's your leg lockout. A lot of you are swinging so hard that you're using your hips to generate that power. It's really important and crucial that you make sure that the leg is straightening or locking out simultaneously as your foot is hitting that ball. If you swing and that knee is bent at all, it's going to be a lower trajectory ball and you're going to push it one way or the other. You want to lock that leg straight at contact and keep it straight through the follow through. Common mistake number 8 for field goal kickers, it's the lockout. And we want to talk 2 points of lockout. The first one is the lockout of the leg. Too many times you are swinging so hard that your knee is staying bent or your hips are coming through. Make sure that leg is straightening simultaneously as you're making contact with the ball. And the second part is your foot flexion. Make sure that ankle is locked. A lot of times when we swing, that toe comes up and we're gonna lead with our heel, which is gonna be a lower trajectory ball. Make sure that ankle stays locked, that leg stays locked through the swing, resulting in a higher, further field goal. Common mistake number 9 for field goal kickers. It's the skip or the slide downfield. Too many times kickers jump into the ball, or they put so much weight or pressure on this plant foot, they can't transition down the field. You really need to skip or slide down the field to have ultimate long-term success and accuracy of your field goals. What that looks like is from here, you wanna go heel toe and roll onto the ball of your foot and then slide down the field. The slide or the skip allows for us to stop this hip from over rotating and keeps that follow through straighter, longer. That's gonna result in more consistent field goals long term. Common mistake number 10 for field goal kickers, the follow through. You wanna make sure that your follow through, the way it is when it hits the ball, is the same exact way on your follow through. Don't change anything. A lot of the times when we're making contact, our ankle is locked, our toe is pointed, our leg is straight, but then the second we follow through, our knee bends or our toe comes up or we come around. Make sure your follow through stays a straight leg, a locked ankle, and the path stays straight to ultimately where you want that ball to go. Don't let your follow through drift off one way or the other. Keep it on that visual path that you drew at the beginning.